Okay, all right, all right, all right, all right. All right, shalom and shalom, Sister Deborah, prophetess in the wilderness. And you know what? That's all right with me. Coming again on this Deborah platform with another message. And I will say this is a lovely, lovely evening in which the Most High, Ahaya has made. And I, Sister Deborah, shall and I will rest therein. I'm going to give it a few minutes until we get those on in the live chat to pull up, okay? And this topic is a time for you to talk, time you talk, okay? That means if you have questions or you have answers or you want to cover some things that you feel that's needed in this day and time to really talk about, we're going to do that. We're going to do just that. Again, I'm holding back a minute to get a few people to come on live, and then we would take it from there. I have to clean these glasses. Sometimes it's making me feel I can't see. And this topic is time you talk. That means I'm going to be waiting here to hear from you. Any questions? If you got answers, you want to discuss some things that's actually taking place in this day and time, it's time for you to talk. It's time for you to talk. And I will say that today was a real hard day for me, being so, I had like spiritual, it was an inner feeling. It was really sad today because it was like I'm going to be able to see a lot or behold a lot of turmoil that has taken place and that is going to take place. And it's a lot of it's connected with the judgment of the Most High Yah and the sorrow come in uh, because I had to explain to an individual and I had to have some time to myself where I just embrace the fact that it is what it is. There's nothing one could really do, say, or make a difference or change. And that's what I see, people going out trying to uh, make a change or a difference in many of things, but it's like it's too late. It's just too late. And I know people who follows the light of the Creator and they walk in spirit and truth, they're not out here trying to make miracles and wonders come forth because they pretty much know they have the fullness and the feeling of knowing within them that this is it. This is it. Um, and with that being said, you got many people out here showing you and telling you different ways you can go around what is taking place or how you can go over it, under it. And a lot of times they think it's in the power of the mind of the flesh. And that's the most saddest thing in it all because people really think you got the power in your flesh to change everything. Your hands have the power. Your mind thinking how intelligent and smart you are, and how you might know how to business set up business and plans, and so on and so on. But in the situation we as a people are in today, I don't care how intelligent and how smart and how bright and how in time past as well in present that you have been able to see things pan itself out. The where we're at today, a lot of things people think that they have panned out, and what I mean by panned out, they have solved the issue, and now they think that, okay, I got this together, I got this, wrapped. Uh, Really, they really don't. They just found another way of going around it, but the issue is still there because of where we're at in life today. You're not going to find that resting place. And what I mean, that only resting place you're going to find is in the bosom of the Most High God. That's it. You're not going to, it's nothing on this earth that's going to offer you a resting place, a place of peace, a place of joy. You see what I'm saying? Not in this day and time. So your best bet is find that resting place in the Most High Yah and Him only, because that will be your only choice. Okay. And even there, it would give you least a peace of mind. Okay. Uh, and it still remain as a comforter. Okay. I learned a lot today. I learned a whole lot today, even listening to others speak, as far as those who have turned their full life over to science. And I learned, you know what? It's very important to be a listener, because being a good listener, you can be a good teacher. Okay, you can be a good speaker, but if you're not a good listener, you can't be a good anything. You have to first be able to be a good listener, someone who can listen. Sister Deborah, at times, and this is not something I would say that I'm bragging about, because it does come with long suffering, and that is being able to hear behind hearing. You see, so when I'm listening, sometimes I can hear behind listening. Today, I dealt with several males, Negro males, that's in this science thing. And a lot of them come from the standpoint of Islam, and then they branched over to the science. They didn't branch over to the science. I think Islam is connected as well to the science somewhat. And people who get into the belief, they think that they're not set in a religion, which they really are. They set in the belief that space and the stars and the moon and so on has the power, and and they themselves are God. There's no such thing as God. They are God, and the power and energy that can change the whole world rests in them. But this is the sad part about it. If that's the case, and you've been in this for 20 years, why is everything still the same and getting worse? See, this is where you can get a lot of them. Even people who are pastors and apostles and preachers and teachers, you can get a lot. The reason you have to come up on them in a way that's spirit and truth. You got to call it out, call them out. Because an apostle ain't got no business being an apostle without the power. You see what I'm saying? I'm not talking about you running around the country traveling. You getting a kick out of traveling all over the world, making people thinking that you baptizing people, and that's your power. Baby, please. Please, people, one thing I noticed in the spiritual realm, many have not gripped spirit over flesh. They take flesh over spirit. This is why Sister Deborah know that she knows that a lot of people who say that they are saved or they have the Ruach HaKodesh, you don't have nothing but your flesh. Because if you did, you would know more so about the spirit realm that weighs heavily over the flesh realm. And you would know that that's where the power rests therein, is in the spirit realm that rests therein you, not in the flesh. These things they know not of, like the baptism. You could go all over the world and baptize the whole world, and the whole world is still going in to the place of uttermost darkness. Why? Because they have not the spirit that leads them out of darkness. You led them in darkness in the way that tells their flesh you baptized because you went into down in some water and you came up. But what they didn't tell them is there's another baptism, and that is by fire. That's by the Spirit. See, they don't teach them anything about the Spirit. They don't teach. Do you all know that they do not teach people that you got wisdom in the flesh and you have wisdom in the spirit? You have knowledge in the flesh, you have knowledge in the spirit, you have understanding in the flesh, and you have understanding in the spirit. And guess what? The flesh ain't got nothing on the things you have in the spirit. The flesh is vain and vexed when it come down to what you have in the spirit. That's why it's important to get the flesh under the subjection to the spirit that's so willing. Okay, so this is a time where it's time you to talk. If you have any questions, you have any answers, or you want to expound on things that's going on in the world, whether it's good or whether it's bad, you go right ahead. I'm gonna leave the live chat open for questions. Okay. Shalom in the live chat. It's good to see you. Could you define Yah will? Okay, sure can. Okay, Yah's will is who he was and is and what he did before the foundation of the world. You know how you go to your attorney and you tell him you want to take out a will. The attorney take the paperwork out and fill it out, name and everything. And then he asks you these questions. What do you want to go on here? And what happens? Anything happened to you, what you got on this here in your will that the attorney wrote up for you and signed it and made it legal, whatever happens, they got to follow the will, your will. The attorney can't add on to it. He's not supposed to take, he can't take from it. And the reason why is because he has to go before the judge and get this will stamped. So therefore, the judge looks over the will and see if it's legally set up properly, and then it is stamped, meaning legal. Now it's law. Okay, that's a will. That means if anything happened to you, it has to go according to the things that you said that you want in this will. Okay, everything has to go according to this will. Okay, there are some people buckle up toward the will once someone has passed away because they feel this. The only thing they could do is prolong the will from being fulfilled. Outside of that, when it's all said and done, it's going to be identical to the way that you told your attorney you want everything to go and everything to happen and everything to be, or to go to someone, or you want this to be like this and you want this to be like this, according to your will. Even though you're gone, you have died, but yet your will is going to be fulfilled. The Most High's will is similar to that, but much greater. Yah is never going to die. Okay. But he set up his plan in the heaven. Okay. Before he even created the heavens and the earth, he set it up the way that he wanted it to go. From what distance, Deborah? From and how long? From the beginning all the way to the end. His will is already before him because it is him. It's what he has orchestrated and have, I ain't gonna say wrote down because he don't need to write it down. It's in him. His will and the way he wants everything to go from the beginning all the way to the end, and everything in between is in Yah already. Why, Sister Deborah, sitting here and your question you asked, guess what? In Yah's will, he would give me the words to say and you the person to ask. All of that is in his will. He see it all. Everything is going according to what he already seen and see. So it's not like, that's why they don't understand when he said, and he rest. We know he don't need no rest. He was just showing us an example that he's resting, not like we rest, because everything he wrote up in him for his will from A to Z require him to set an example that he done everything. Everything is finished. Okay, in him, it's time for me to rest. What was finished? The beginning all the way to the end. He set it up in his will. Yah has a perfect will and a permissive will. Perfect will and a permissive will. But when you set up a will with your attorney, it's just going to have to be your own perfect will because this is the way you want things to go. It's not going to be in the courts, and the judge won't stamp it with the permissive will. But the Father in the heavens who holds the will, because he is the attorney. He is the one who orchestrated the will. So he knows what the will is from the beginning to the end. So in his rest, he's just standing back letting everything walk its will out. You and I even communicating to today in this here topic, guess what? We just walking his will out. He's seen us already. You ask this question and I give you the answer the best of my ability of what I understand according to his will. When you know him like that, that's what give you the ability to fear him. You see, and to you, someone who's able to do what I'm saying he has done, that's what caused you to praise him, to worship him and honor him. You see, and know he's worthy to be praised 24/24. Why? Because he was the one who orchestrated the beginning to the end of everything you've seen throughout your life and before your life. When it first started, all the way to the end. Even though you still here, he know your end. That's the will. That's the will of the Most High Yah. He has a permissive will. Okay. And that's when things come out of the order and he permits it. He allowed it because his will is here and the permissive will is here. But what's the difference between the two? One is his will and one is his permissive will. But guess what? The both work his will out. So even the permissive will, when it's out of order, guess what? It is permitted to get out of order, but yet it's still in order. To the Most High Yah's will. You see? Because how would I say that? It's almost like to have hot, you have to have cold. But how do you get lukewarm? The both. Okay? If you have, let me see, get another one. If you were someone was in the beginning and someone's in the end of the line, how is there a middle? You have to have a beginning and an end in order for it to be a middle. You see, this is what is allowed. Things are allowed. And it's all his will. But a permissive will is things he allows. Because that which he allows still gonna usher what? His will. So even when one speak of the permissive will, even though it's a permissive will, guess what? It's still gonna line up and get in order with the will. So the will of the Father is in his bosom. It's his beginning and his end. And one thing you'll find out, a lot of people always say, some people say he's Alpha and Omega. Some say he's the beginning and the end. That right there is his will, meaning everything from the beginning to the end is already in him. It's already willed to be. Everything that you see today is already willed in him to be what it is. You see, and this, what it does is, I like that question, because guess what? That tells you that no man and no woman should be ruling your life. Because if the will is in the hand of the Creator, why must you follow the will of the flesh of man and woman when the Father has his will for you in his hand, in his bosom, in his hand, meaning his order, his creation? This is why, because guess what? If he felt that man and woman should take over the directions in which he has caused you to, then why would you have to pay? Why would you have to stand before judgment? If you have to be under a submissive and under order of a man or a woman, why do you have to stand before the Most High to be judged? If you following somebody else's, because it said that you're supposed to be or submit to this person, or you're supposed to follow this person order. So, okay, if I'm following this person order and I'm submitting to this person, I tell you what, this person gonna stand on my behalf come judgment. Wouldn't that be just? Yes. That's why people should not try to put people under their power and their control and their manipulation. They shouldn't try even think to do that, because that individual is going to have to stand before the mighty Yah just like they are. And you ain't going to be able to look at the one who told you you're supposed to be submissive. You ain't going to be able to look at the one who told you you're supposed to do did the way I said or else, because you too are going to have to stand before the mighty throne. And you're going to have to be held liable. How would that be? According to his will, all of us going to have to be judged. Now, if we being judged because somebody else told, you know what? Even this captivity, a lot of people feel that the heathens is doing this and the Gentile is doing that. Baby, he ain't going to judge you on what they doing. You know why? He's going to judge them on what they done that was out of the order, which was permitted, a permissive will, but they're going to be judged based on that permissive will that they were allowed to overstep the boundaries of his will. You see what I'm saying? So that's the Yah's will. And guess what? The will itself is enough to be feared, because you're saying that everything is in his mighty hand. Everything. So when we finish listening to everybody, guess what? Everything is still resting in his mighty hand, which is his will. It's in him. Okay? So I hope that answered it. The 144,000. Now, the 144,000 is set up like the 12 tribes, not including Dan, as it is said, the 12 tribes. This is the thing about it. with Sister Deborah. Do you know that ever since I was 4, the Spirit of the Most High has been dealing with me? And even though I'm 62 now, I notice some things. There are not some, many things the Father do not allow me to get embedded in. Okay, I can hear Yeshua saying, the lady walked and she asked Yeshua, Jesus, as the world calls him. She said, can my son, she had 2 sons. She was asking him, can one sit on the left and or one sit on the right in the kingdom? And Yeshua said something that was so powerful, and it can stand for right there for the 144 as well. He said, it is not given unto me, but the Father in heaven has already assigned those that are going to sit on the left and those that's going to sit on the right. Even the Son of Man has no connection to whom the Most High Yah has assigned. So when you get into the 144, based on the instructions and direction, it tells you about the 12 tribes. Okay? 144 is, to me, from what I can spiritually discern, 1%. 1% of Israel. That's very little. Even though you see 144. You see what I'm saying? So out of each tribe, and it's going to be 12, but out of all of them, it's going to be 144. This 144, with no doubt, would have this as well. I don't know if, can you see that? They would have Yah brand. They would have this brand. Why would you say that, Deborah? Because I believe the 144 are the bloodline seed of the Spirit. Let me say that again. The 144, I believe, is the bloodline. The bloodline, the spiritual bloodline. You know how David, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Solomon, and many more, they are the bloodline of the Spirit. They came down with Yah's brand, and they're going to enter into the New Jerusalem because they have been branded. That's why a lot of people couldn't understand the things that they were doing. That was the bloodline of the flesh. See, that's why no one understands there too. There's a bloodline of the flesh and there's a bloodline of the Spirit. Okay? You cannot tamper with the bloodline of the Spirit. That's another reason why Yeshua was telling the lady that it is not for him. This is in the hands of the Father. Why? Because it is spirit. He already knows who's going to sit on his left and who's going to sit on his right. I cannot, usher you that type of choice. So he was speaking to her from the flesh of man to the flesh of woman. That the Spirit of the Most High Yah has already have who he going to put in that seat on the left and on the right. Not the seat, but, so she can't expect Yeshua. Yeshua did a great job trying to inform us the difference between him, which is the Son of Man, and the Son of Yah. He even allowed you to understand that the Son of Yah was the Father. But no one still don't want to give it the Son of Yah to the Father because it is the Father. It was his word, it was his power, and it was his Spirit that came down to help the Son of Man complete the will that was in the heavens before the foundation of the world. See, this is a part of that will we was talking about. It's already in the heavens. And that's going back to what I was saying. You know how we walk around and we waiting for somebody to tell us. And the Father, he is not looking at you, waiting for this pastor, this bishop, this prophet, this prophetess, this teacher, this, this apostle, this Maureen, this seer. He's not waiting for them to tell you nothing. He already got you either in him or you out of him. You see? And he knows no matter what you do down here, you're already in him. And you're going to make it back to him. So all these people down here monkeying around trying to control people and deceive people. That's why Yeshua kept telling even his disciples, be not deceived. Now, why would he tell his disciples that? Because they too can be found one that would be deceived. Why would Yeshua say that to them? Because it wasn't Yeshua, the Son of Man, to call that shot. It wasn't for Yeshua to have the betrayer. It was the Father. What did he say? All that thou hast given me, Father, I have not lost one except for the betrayer. But he telling him, I have not lost one. Why? Because he knew that it wasn't his will that he have 12, but it was the Father's will. So you see what I'm saying about the will? The will is in Yah. It wasn't even in the Son of Man. It wasn't Yeshua will. That's why people are confused. But the reason why they are confused about a lot of it is because the Father said they didn't get Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. You see, they weren't able to see spirit and truth in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. And because they were not able, this is why they are leading the mass, the multitude, in the darkness of their own understanding. Okay, so what was that? That's weird. And it was the 144. So to go back to the 144, this is how I've seen it. I see them from the wilderness as those that are branded with this here. You see here? And that's going back to that narrow gate. But these are those that is from the house of Israel and the tribe of Judah. This 144. This is not the Gentiles and others. This is the house of Israel and the tribe of Judah. That 144. And let me tell you something, baby. In the world right now, it's something like we are something like 40 million. But in the eyes of Yah, we are 1% of that 40 million. So 144 is even less. So you take 144 and you just take 144,000 out of 4 million, and it's going to make you cry. It's going to make you cry. And you'll see why it's not important to be hung up on the 144, because it has no food for the spirit. It puts no food on your plate. Because the food on your plate, it has to be food that gives Father the glory, to give him the praise, to give him the honor, to keep you eating from it, to keep you nourished in the spirit so you can continue to walk in Yah. Knowing about the 144 won't do nothing for your spirit, man. You see? But I'm giving you this information so you can just take our time. So say 40 million living today of us. 40 million. Okay? You take 144 from that 40 million. Okay? But you got to remember the amount of that 144 is not from just, I would say, the living. I believe, now this is what I believe, it's from the dead as well. So now you got to go with the sand of the sea and the stars in the skies. But when you finish, 144,000 is less than 1%. And that's going back to what the Father says, the narrow gate. Remember he said, the narrow gate and very few shall find. And then he talked about the small remnant. everything. And then he said, if it was so, it will fool the very elect. Not that they're going to be fooled, but it would fool them. But because he put something in them that they are his servant, they won't be fooled by a lot of things a lot of people are fooled by. But the 144, if you do your study and you see, you'll say, but Miss Deborah, that ain't nobody. It's not. That's why it's not something to really get real focused on, because it don't mean nothing. Shalom and shalom to everyone in the live chat. It's your time to talk. And you know what? I think it's a good thing that you asked that question about Yah's will, because you know what, babe? Too many people don't give a rest behind his will. So I appreciate you asking that question. I think that was a wonderful question and a good start off, because you know what? No one's give a rest behind about his will. You know, and that's one thing we need to be laying our head on, his bosom, because that's where his will rests, in him. You see? And that was a good one. I liked it, that one, because that talked about him direct, and just leave it to the Most High Yah. You ask the question that rests straight into him. And I like that. And that's a good, like I said, that was a really good question. I'm serious. I mean, the first one was about his will, and the second one was the 144. Now, let me give you a treat. Go back and try to count up the numbers, and you're gonna get lost. I know you will. I'm just being silly. I'm being silly, just like the Most High was silly with Abraham. He told Abraham, look at the skies, the stars in the sky. Look at the sand in the sea, if you can count it. He asked him if you can count it, knowing Abraham couldn't count the stars in the skies nor the sea, the sand in the sand at the sea. He knew Abraham couldn't count it, but it's just a way of saying that many. But when you see 144, it answered the question. That's what he talked about, the narrow gate, and very few shall find. He talked about the small remnant. When we come to the understanding that we are the Hebrew Israelites, that was one of the throwouts the men were putting out. Or 144. It's 144. They never told the people that ain't nothing but if it's 1% of the population. It doesn't make any sense. That's nothing, you know. It's a very small amount. Even if you take it, the 40 million that's living, and you say 144, that's about 1%. I'm serious. Barely making it. That's what he said. But that's what he said, though, didn't he? That's what he said. We're barely making. Oh, yes. Yes, ma'am. It is a scary number. And when I learned that, I was like, well, ain't nobody gonna be in heaven, is it? I just be joking, because I'm gonna tell y'all something. If you really hold a relationship with the Most High, you gonna know that he got a sense of humor. He has some sense of humor, but his sense of humor is not a laughing and a playing, but it's just the things he say. When I ask him stupid questions or I say something, he'll come up with something said. But like he asked me, I say, when they hear and they putting all the bad things about what we doing, and they putting crimes and letting the whole world see what type of people we are. And then he said, are they doing it? He asked me, the Father asked me, Deborah, are they doing it? Because he was telling me that's one of the problems with Israel and Judah. They don't own up to nothing. And he turned around and asked me, I said, when they put all these things that our nation is doing on nationwide television so the whole world can see us doing this, and they're not doing that to them. And then he asked me, the Father said it with a quiet voice. He said, Deborah, are they doing it? And I had to stand all the way down and look stupid, because that is so true. Why is it wicked and evil? People are killing each other out here and doing all this high level wicked. Why should it be hidden? They doing it. I'm like saying, well, they ain't putting themselves, but don't keep in mind, Deborah, the nation I chose is doing these things right before your eyes. The nation I chose. And then you dare come to me and say what they're doing by putting them on nationwide television so the whole world can see what type of people they are. Did you ever think how they were to me? And I the one chose them as mine. Have you ever thought of that? I'm just saying that's how his humor in the spirit realm. When he's talking to you in the spirit, he would back you up and back you down, and then you have to get somewhere and sit down somewhere in the corner, because he has a sense of humor, but it's not a plain, joking and sort of sense of humor. Yep, that's a good one. That's a good one too. People are so quick to say, let his will be done, and they don't have a clue what they're saying, nor do they care. See, I like that care on there, because that's the key. You lock that with the key. They don't care. It's just not, but should they care? No, because like we were talking about the will, okay? The will itself. No one cares he got a will. No one cares that he is righteous. He got the brand of righteous belief and faith and fear. No one cares about anything outside of who they are within themselves. Yeah, that's the key. It's sad. Very small percentage. No accountability. That's right. And you know it started in the garden, didn't it? So you know what's beautiful about that, though? When you say no accountability since the garden, what's beautiful about that? Because that's where it started. You see what I'm saying? That's where it started. And you got to go where it started. It did not start when we say it started and how it started. Taking accountability is where we at today, because that's where it started, in the garden, not taking accountability. And that's why we stuck where we at today. Yep, that is so true. But you know what? Let me ask y'all a question. Somebody can maybe answer this. The Father has not answered it yet in me, and maybe he ain't going to, but it's not saying that he's not going to. I'm not going to say, just look at the ideal of he's not going to. Everything that he has brought upon the people, he has a word that always end up relaying to relaying to a woman. And that's deep to me, because I'm like, okay, why is everything like a woman in travail? I got an issue with that. I got a straight up from the floor up issue with that, because a man don't know what a woman in travail feel like, nor do they know what it's like. So who is he talking to? Somebody. Who is this creator talking to when he continue to say this even in the Old Testament, all the way to Revelation. Things are like unto a woman in travail. Who are you talking to? I'm trying to figure that out. Because if everything is like unto a woman in travail, and we got Mother Wisdom, Mother Earth, and I'm just the house of Israel is called daughter and wife. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to understand what is all that about. You know, what is all that about? But when he says everything always, when we went through this here, COVID, that, you know, that when we went through that stage, he kept saying to me, like a woman in travail, like a woman in travail. But in me, somewhere, I would love it. Maybe one of you all have the answer. Who is he talking to? A man don't know how it feels for a woman to go be in travail. So who are you talking to? Like a woman in travail. Like a woman in travail. Like a woman in travail. Wait a minute. Who are you talking to? Because men don't know what it is like for a woman to be in travail outside of knowing her actions and what she's going through by her reactions. Outside of that, they don't know what it feels like. They don't know what going in travail, like a woman in travail. They don't know. So who is he talking to? Anybody know? That he said this. He described wisdom as a woman, but men compare a woman to wickedness. And I don't know why. That's what everything he have said is always buckling up on a woman. And I just don't get what is it they know? Nothing. That's true. That is so true. That is so true. And you know what? About even the travail, I'm trying to, I still haven't, I know the Roman Catholic have put things in there and have smeared a lot of things, but I'm just trying to find this female entity that drops into just about everything, you know, even when you call the Mother Earth, it's because she brings forth life. And that's something they have forsaken in their darkest hours of where they're at today. And this is why things are pretty much like it is today. It's because they are rejecting and refuse to really go back into the Bible and start learning under spirit and truth. The things we have to go through, it's a lot. Oh, yes, a whole lot. I'm gonna set another example. Anything happened to the kids, they are never coming looking for the father. Even if there is a father that had been in the house all these years, they never come looking for the father. They want to know who the mama is, where the mama. They want to know where is mama. And they don't own up to stuff like that because they so busy trying to deceive, I think, men themselves. Satan just reminding him that it is a wrap because he ain't to be played with. Nope, he is not to be. Mm-hmm. Yep. His believers suffers. Yep. Because they walk in that same footprints of Yeshua. That's why they suffer. That's what I'm saying. I don't get why ain't nobody preaching and teaching that. What's going on with that? You see, no one really understanding that, wait a minute now, we might have this wrong. We might be in error. You know, he even tell them, a man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing. You see, he didn't say find it wise, but a wife findeth a good thing. But it's just they don't see stuff like that. That stuff and this travail, I'm gonna tell you something. If they dig in here and pull out every verse, a woman in travail, it will blow their mind. Because why? Because how can they connect with a woman in travail outside of just looking at her in her agony? Well, why is it being pressed upon the house of Israel and the tribe of Judah? How are they going to be able to grip that, Father? How are they going to be able to get that? If they have not gone through it and felt it, experienced it outside of seeing it. And seeing it, it's not giving you the fullness of what travail is. But who can tell you? A woman. You see, I'm just telling y'all, it's just something just not right in that area. Now he did the Messiah, because this is something else, you guys, exactly similar to what you're saying as far as the spiritual birth, his inheritance. Let me tell you something. It's something, y'all, it's something strange. Now, the bloodline is always coming down the man, the seed of a man. But when it got down to the Messiah, what happened to where he said, "Hold, stand down, Joseph. Don't touch her. The seed I'm putting in her is going to be a woman's seed that's going to bring forth the Son of Man." If you go back to Genesis chapter 1, he tells Satan, listen to this. In Genesis chapter 1, no, not chapter 1, chapter 2. Oh, mine's torn out. Oh, my, I should have had my new Bible. I will put enmity between the woman's seed and between thy seed. You see, her seed and thy seed. And when I see this seed he's talking about, it's not to me just the Messiah. It is everybody who came down branded, because they received the sacrifice before the foundation of the world. The lamb was sacrificed before the foundation of the world. So therefore, those that came down, okay, they received the things that they needed to be branded with so that they can return back. To me, that's called the spiritual bloodline. And then there's a natural bloodline. And what we as human beings are doing, we're following the bloodline of the flesh seed and not the bloodline of the spirit seed. That's why we can't follow Yeshua. That's why we refuse to follow Yeshua, to walk in his footprints, because we don't want to walk in the footsteps of he that has the spiritual bloodline seed. We want to walk behind man, the flesh of man. See, we don't want to walk behind the spiritual. Like, let me see the example. Let me show you a good example. Let's take David. Let's take an Abraham. You don't see these men walking the way Abraham served the Most High Yah. You don't see these men serving the Most High like David. You don't see it. But you see them gripping what they did in their flesh and have mimicked what they did in their flesh, and then they turned it into righteousness. What about what David was to the Father in righteousness? Why ain't you mimicking that? Why ain't you walking in that order? Or Abraham, why ain't you walking in the Abraham being the favorite of the Most High Yah in that spiritual bloodline? Why ain't you walking in that? They don't want to walk in the spiritual bloodline seed. They want to walk in the flesh bloodline. They want to mimic that. That's where they poured out polygamy and poured out all the things that they teaches you out of the flesh, so that they can be able to convince people that David, Abraham, Isaac, they did this, they had this many wives, so we can too. No, baby, you reached out of the flesh bloodline. And that is not righteous. They are not found righteous in that area, baby. Because if that was so, David wouldn't have no problem taking that another man's wife after he put her husband on the front line to get killed. Those are the parts that these men are following, their flesh bloodline. And they don't got the sense to understand that it's two. Praise the mighty God. That's why when he poured up with Eve and he said that he's going to give her a seed. Wait a minute now. All this time men had the seeds. How, you going to give it to her? Yes, Deborah, she's going to have the seed and she's going to birth a son of man. I don't need the man's sperm for this one. This is without sin. If I use the man's sperm, then the sperm is tainted. It is loaded with sin. It is the sin of the forefathers. When Deborah, I don't need the Messiah to come being born of a man. Why? Because they are full of sin. I'm going to get his woman the seed, and it's going to be he's going to be the son of man. He's going to be the son of man born of a woman. Because if I take it out of one of the men, then he's going to be sin. He's going to be sin, full of sin. So if I give the seed to the woman, that cut all that out. Because you're like your forefathers. I will visit the children 3 to 4 generations, their sin because of their forefathers. So the Messiah couldn't come up out of the forefathers. Hallelujah. Woo-wee! I never thought of it like that. Messiah couldn't pull up out of the sperm of a man. Why do y'all think we in captivity? Because of our forefathers. Not our foremothers, but our forefathers. Okay? So what the Father is saying is he brought the Messiah down through a woman's seed, born of a woman, brought the Son of Man. So he won't be tainted by the seed, the sperm, the sin of the forefathers. So he came down perfect. Makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, y'all. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Because you notice Joseph couldn't touch Mary. Y'all didn't want nothing about a man interfering with what he had to interfere with between a woman and the Messiah. And even though the Son of Man was born of a man, he was still yet born of the man, but what he didn't have, the forefathers' sin. Had he took the seed from a man, then Yeshua will be coming up saying, yeah, I want to have many wives. You get it, y'all? It makes sense. So he had to come up out, give a woman a seed, something he never done. Let her bring forth the Son of Man that's not born of a man, of the flesh of a man, the sperm of a man. Because if he's born of a sperm of the man, then guess what? He's going to be like his forefathers. But I don't want him like his forefathers, Deborah. I want him perfect. So I'm going to give her a perfect seed, let her birth him, bring him forth. Because he didn't even have to do that. He could have brought the Messiah any other way. He didn't have to do that. But what happened? He knew that he needed the flesh. He knew that Yeshua needed to be flesh to die for all the sin of the flesh. So I have to bring him in, Deborah, of the flesh. But he can't be loaded with the sin of his forefathers. And you hear these men when they teach and they preach it, oh, Yeshua, the Messiah came down Judah. This Messiah came down Judah. The Messiah, shut your mouth. You don't even know which way he came down because you're in full denial of spirit and truth. Messiah came down. Messiah came down, the sperm of a woman, born the Son of Man. So he did not come down, because had he come down, guess what? He would be bringing all the sin of the forefathers on down with him. Y'all get it? So it makes sense now. It makes a lot of sense. Yes, he put the spiritual seed in her. His righteous bloodline. There you go. That's it. He had the righteous bloodline. You know why? Look where we at. And then we say, let's say this here. Okay, Deborah, why you here in the situation you in and in the United States? Because of the forefathers. You see what I'm saying? So he couldn't be a part of the forefathers, stiff-necked rebellion and disobedient. You see, he can't be running around here with many wives and getting his lust on, lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride-minded. So he had to come another route, which was spiritual, and they missed it. Even to today, they run around here talking about he was born as a tribe of Judah. You don't know nothing. Only perfect seed ever to exist. Right. The only perfect seed to ever exist. And what made it perfect? It wasn't of a man. Y'all don't get that. Y'all let that fly over. But that's the truth of the whole matter. That's what you call spirit and truth. That's what made it perfect. Just like in the beginning. To bring Adam forth, he didn't need a seed. But yet Adam was born perfect. Don't tell me who my father is and what he can't do. The only perfect seed. No, that's right. He didn't have nothing. That's why he had the flesh of man. Watch this here, you all. That's why when he was born, before he was born, you seen the star. The flesh of man was already plotting to kill him before he even came out of his mother's womb. Trying to kill him. Who was that trying to kill him? The flesh of man. Not the flesh of woman, but the flesh of man. Already after him. Even when he was first born, they were after him already. Because he wasn't born of a man. Sin. Full of sin. Exactly. Go. That's a good saying. Man used you. God chose you. That's a good one. You need to put that on a t-shirt. You need to put that on a t-shirt. Not yet. He always telling them about forefathers. There's a reason why foremother is not detached to it. But you see today, it's all about the mothers. even the foremothers. All about the grandmamas, the mamas, the mothers, the sisters, everything is bitches, hoes, hate. The hate is high level. That's why I believe you ladies that there's something somewhere that we have not connected to that causes them to feel like that. There's something is something we not connecting to. Because in Isaiah, he's telling the women how he's going to destroy our men. He called them thy men. So as if he's telling us how he's going to destroy them. And today, before I got on live, I washed my face. And guess what it was saying to me? Guess what it was saying? It was telling me about Isaiah and how he's going to destroy the men. Again, now he told me this a million times. I'm like, okay. But he was explaining to me that it's already taking place. He said, you don't see it, Deborah? I said, no. You mean you don't see all these killings that's going on? Yeah, but women are in it too. He said, but yet the men are going down by great numbers and ain't nobody seeing nobody. Because the men is so conniving and cunning. They don't want to talk spirit and truth. They don't want to teach spirit and truth. They don't want to bring the light forward. If they were to do that, guess what? The Most High would cause the enemy to pull away. But he said, if the men are still going to remain who they are, let it go. Bam. Let my will go and walk itself on out. Take them out. I was in the bathroom. He said, you know how you talk about Isaiah chapter 3, verse 25, how I'm going to destroy thy men? He said, I'm already doing it. Little boy got killed. Went outside to play, 10-year-old. Someone passed by and shot him dead in his chest. When the Most High said, men, he ain't cutting out on the boys either. He just letting you know. So focus on that and see. Yes, are they? And they're so wicked, they're killing their own. They're killing their. Oh, if the woman don't heat up this food, what makes you blow her head off? You see? Because she picked up the child early, you jealous, and you kill her. This is actually y'all stuff that's actually taking place and nobody's saying anything about it. And if they're not putting it on the news, that's one thing. But when these so-called upright and righteous men talking about they are awakening, they the people, they the children, they the true Jews, you the fool and you the fool and you're going to be the fool. Until he was carried out. That's right. That is so true. Unrighteousness always since the beginning. Always. Unrighteousness has always been since the beginning. No, not the beginning. After the Genesis, it came in of Genesis 3. Even though the Bible is no New Testament, it's no Old, and things like that. Because I got in trouble a long time ago. Because I decided when he told me he had called me to be a prophetess, I decided to start reading the Bible and mastering it. You know, all the verses, and just really day and night. I wasn't even getting no sleep, y'all. And the Father told me, he said, Deborah, what are you doing? I said, I want to be able to answer the question that people ask. I want to be able to know John, Mark, Luke, and the verses and the scriptures and where it's at. He said, I didn't ask you to do that. See, that's why I'm telling y'all, people put more on you that y'all don't put on you, because he don't want you to do all that. Because you know that will we was talking about, it's finished in him. So all this clowning we doing down here is just to be clowning. Because I'm sitting here clowning, putting all these verses and mastering the verses and the chapters. He said, who asked you to do that? Did you ever read what a prophetess was consist of? Or what the duties? I didn't ask you to do that. That's true. That could be too. The Most High is keeping that part from us because we might take on a puffed up spirit, and some would not know what we are to remain humbled under Him. That's right. The Most High, the most women are innocent bystanders in all these killings. But they killing their own. They killing their daughters, their wives, their babies' mamas, and nobody is saying anything about it. So I guess the Father is still yet fulfilling what He said. Because I'm gonna tell y'all, this is so crazy. When I'm hearing all this, I'm like saying, I wonder when they sitting up in jail, what do they be thinking? Oh no, no, no. No, baby. Guess what? That's why when you say us women will be in pain from all our men being destroyed. Only the ones that are in the hand of the mighty, the right hand of the Father to be destroyed. Okay? Because for what right after then he's sitting, he tell the women said when once they see a man, they see this man, they're gonna know he survived the mighty right hand of the Father. And that's the name they wanted because they know that he's called something because the Father tells them he's going to be called holy. And that's the name that the women were saying. Just let us take on the name to take away our reapproach, which is holy. It comes to take away your reapproach. They weren't talking about the man last name. They was talking about the holy because they seen all the men killed. And when they did see some alive, they knew it was the hand of Yah that have allowed them to live. Yep. Killing sis came since the beginning. You're right. So if Cain wasn't unrighteous, was he righteous? If Cain was not unrighteous, was he righteous? Answer that question. Yes, right, right. We ain't supposed see, and really, he ain't called nobody to master the scriptures. Because what would we need the Holy Spirit? Why would we need His Spirit in us if we want to walk around here and be a walking Bible? Because the Bible is not the Word of God. God is the Word, and not a paperback book that the Roman Catholics have been in, smeared up, smeared down. It's been switched probably a good 50 or maybe even more times. But Yah says, study to show thyself approved. He didn't say study to church, show nobody. He said, study to show yourself approved, rightly dividing the word of truth. He letting you know in that book, its spirit and truth can be found. But the only way you're going to find it is through His Holy Spirit showing it to you. Still the true teacher. Still the true teacher. You know, it's a time where they used to ask people, tell people they need to repent. You don't hear nobody saying nothing about repent no more. You notice that? The question was, if Cain was not unrighteous, well, are you saying Cain was righteous? That's the question. Our degree don't mean nothing. The degrees in education and all them hooking up to all this science. Okay, okay, let me show you something. You remember he said, put on your whole armor. Okay? So you can be able to withstand the wiles of principalities in high places. High places. See, this is where our men are leading to, and this is where they all are running to, the high places. They run into the high places of science. We fight not against flesh and blood, but principality in high places. You see? Who is that in high places? Science, who deals with space and the things high. Satan and his reside. That's why he says, put on the whole armor. And the whole armor is not natural. It is spiritual. That's why it's important to really tap into the spiritual being that you are. And because people don't know that they are flesh and spirit, because soul has been placed in there to throw them off. So the focus cannot be flesh and spirit. You see? Get your flesh under the subjection to the spirit, because the spirit is willing to do what? To allow Yah to abide in it. But the flesh, it don't want to comprehend the light. It just wants what it wants, and that's darkness. And that's what it stands for, just darkness. Your flesh. It don't mean no good to you. It don't want to help you. It don't want to work with you. It don't want to do anything that's righteous. It's your spirit that Yah abide in. He said you can't even worship him in your flesh. So where can I worship? Where can you worship me, Father? In your spirit, Deborah. That's where I come to abide. They don't want to cover that. They don't want to talk about that, because spirit and truth is the keys to the kingdom. It is the light that leadeth you in darkness and show you the way to the narrow gate. And that is something 99.9 don't have, is the keys to the kingdom. And because they don't have the keys to the kingdom, they are content with what they have to lead you astray. That's their energy. And that's why they're going into the science. Everything is about the science. And yes, you can be thrown off by the science. You really can. It can really get you. But if you're not rooted in Yah, it'll take your tail out of here in a way that you, hey, wait a minute. Oh, no, not me. Oh, no. Oh, yes, it will. Because they will teach you some things and make you forget Yah, like the men are doing. They started off in lane 1. And lane 1 is a really good lane, but they decide to skip and go to lane 8. Why? Not because it's more knowledgeable, but it's more set in the line of Satan, teaching you about space and energy and where you are a God, and the God is you. Your mind can cause you to have things and be great, and you can make things change in your life. You can make wealth through having the power of realizing that you are God. That's what the science. What has happened is they started off in the lane 1, which would have been really good for them, But they decide to jump in lane 8 and swim all the way out in the deep. And that's where they left at, because y'all ain't coming out there to get them. And what going out there in the deep, I always said it in the last 3 years, is when they get too far from y'all to where, see, we were supposed to get our butt somewhere and sit down and tarry, praise him and glorify him until he come. When he come and indulge us with his spirit, he would tell us things. He will show us things to come. He would teach us things, not some things. He said all things. He will comfort us. He will be all that to us. But what they say, we don't want that. We do not want that. We ain't never wanted that type of God. When he brought them out of Egypt, they wanted a God that they can worship. They have always been this type of people. That's who they are today. They started off in the right lane, number 1, and they decided to go to 8 because they felt that science and the history books of science and the stars and the moon, they say that you're born and then you die and then you come back something else. You die again, you come back something else. I don't know about all of that. I cannot sit and say that all that is 100, or they give all the glory to science, space, moon, stars. They give it the power to control any and everything. And this is what they're doing now, to the point where they said, no, Paul is a liar. He ain't never been right. When they was in lane 1, oh no, Paul this, Paul this. Paul told women to shut their mouth. Paul this, Paul that, Paul this. Now they deny Paul. Guess what? While they're denying Paul, some of them deny Peter. But while they denying him, they say, I tell you what, we kicking the New Testament to the curb. It's not even true. I'm showing y'all how deep these people are getting in this science. They are turning their back once again to any little light that might be in their sight, to turn and give glory to the science. When the science were saying it was a great bang and all of this, you all were saying they wrong, they lying, they lost our history, they told us this, they lied to us, and then here you go right back to the vomit and licking it up and licking it down, and then teaching the mass, the multitude. So now they think, and this is where Sister Deborah can get all of them. Where is your power? If you got all this ability to override the Most High Yah and who he is and what he stands for, or if you say you're an apostle, where is your power? Because apostles walk with great power, healing the blind, laying the hand on the sick, raising the dead. Tell me, apostles, where are your power? And you said you a pastor, which was the last total pole. It was prophet, it was apostle, prophet, evangelist, teacher, and then pastors. They the last on the total pole. And if you the last on the total pole, what are you doing high and mighty, leading the multitude in your personal opinion, your personal feelings, your personal insight? Because you're trying to mimic the forefathers. And what did he say about the forefathers? I shall visit the iniquity all the way through the book. I will visit the iniquity. I will visit the iniquity of the fathers in the children, 3 to 4 generations. Said, I'm going to judge that mess, Deborah. And that's what the house of Israel and the tribe of Judah, especially the tribe of Judah, the house of Israel, have done. Yah has been judging them throughout all the captivities they've been in. See, a lot of y'all don't know they've been in many captivities. He always get them out. You know what else he always do? He kills them, y'all. The Most High take them out. He take them out. Y'all just don't hear about it because they don't want to teach y'all that. But go and read it for yourself and you see. And every day. Yep. But he said the flesh always go up against the spirit. It's a battle between the two. So what is he saying? See, this is where you know something is wrong. Why isn't he said, you're born of the flesh. You're born of the flesh. You're born of the spirit. You're born of the spirit. And then he tells you all the way through about how the flesh always fight up against the spirit, and that the spirit is willing, and who the spirit represents and who the flesh represents. He don't break things down talking about the soul this, the soul that, the soul. I heard one verse where it says, "And God's soul." I said, now wait a minute. I know that Roman Catholic been up in this book when y'all had a soul. These people give him they'll say he an apple head, and they'll worship an apple head, saying it's the Most High. Oh, they know it too. Oh, yes, you are so right. They definitely know it. They know it. They know exactly what they're doing. And that's what I was saying last week. Seems like people should know who they are. If they stand in the gate of the broad gate, or do you stand in the narrow gate? Or are you of Yah, or are you of man? You should know that. I would think everybody would know it. Vanity and high speech. Over 40 times. You're right. I'm serious. And guess what? When you go back and you look at how many times that, like you say, over 40, but guess what? Look how he killed them. He took them men out the same way he said it in Isaiah chapter 3, verse 25. He's going to do it again in this day and time. So this is why he said, Deborah, calm down. This need be. As if this is how it's always been. So that's why I embrace his humor when he do speak. He don't laugh. He don't grin. I don't hear him joking. He said, this need be. And if you really take that the way I feel it when he said it to me, it's like, it's okay, Deborah. This is the norm. You see? Yeah, the soul was Roman Catholic. And you couldn't get these Negroes to break that out because they want something else to help support them in their way of deceiving people. And everybody by now should know that that's the part that the Roman Catholic put in, because everything he talks about, the fathers, when you start to hear him talk, he talk of spirit. So if he's talking spirit, and then you see the people outside of him talking, and you hear him talking, he's talking in the spiritual realm. Why is it we thinking that the flesh is the spirit and the spirit is the flesh? And where along the line do we need the middleman outside of who? The middleman is which? The Son of Yah and the Son, Yeshua HaMashiach. That's the only middleman we need to have. We don't need to have no soul. And I know it. They'll never get away from it. Yes, the whole idea is the Father wanted you to teach the flesh how to be under subjection to your spirit. You know why? Your spirit is his image. Your spirit is his image. When he breathed the breath of life in you, it came with the spirit. He breathed a spirit into you like unto his image. You see? He said we can't even worship him in his flesh. We can only worship him in spirit, because he knows his image was blown into you. Now, this soul that was put in there, with no doubt. Why? It's keeping the people from focusing on two. It's keeping the people from focusing on two. It's spirit and it's flesh. The two. And he tells you over and over, the flesh fight against the spirit and the spirit against the flesh. You would never hear out of the mouth of Yah saying anything about your soul. And when what really got me is, as I was listening to the people today regarding their science and what they believe in and so on and so on, I listened to them, different ones yesterday, and I realized there are some things that they are saying that can vouch and support Sister Deborah as a prophetess 100. I'm serious, you guys. It's things they could say, because when he was saying we are not There's no more time. I agree with that. I did videos on that. And they talked about at least 6 things that I totally agree with them. I totally agree what they were saying. Why? Because they're saying what the prophetess has been taught in the wilderness. So this is the sad thing about it. Yah is going to let them get to the ability, their own self ability, and learn certain things. Okay, but it's not going to be enough to enter into the kingdom. You're going to still have to be. That's why he told Abraham, Abraham, come on here. You already counted in. Come on here. See, we don't understand. Heavens has already orchestrated everything. And that's why we should never get into a cult. Look at how all these churches led these people. Y'all don't get that? Y'all don't see all these hundreds and all these years we was in the church, and all these years we sat and listened to what they were saying, and you know everything they were saying has been a lie. Just look at it today. A stone cold lie. My kids would tell you, they say, when my mother took us to church, we had to hear the pastor and then turn around, get in the car, and hear her reverse everything the pastor said. They would tell you, I sure did, because I knew truth. And I would even say, why would he say that? And I would break it down to them in spirit and truth. This is why this is not true. This. You know, let me see here. To the narrow gate. That's right. That light will lead you straight there. That light will lead you there. In the midnight hour. Yes. Did you all know that I believe one of the next major step is him getting his up out of here and heading them to the promised land? I really believe that. I think that's the next major step from the right hand of Yah. Now the judgment is on. We're finna see a lot of stuff, y'all. But I think the next step from the right hand of his action is getting us up out of here. I really do. I really do. Yep, and the strong delusion. The Christians, a lot of them already had the strong delusion because they allowed the Roman Catholics to use them as a shield. If any of you all want to find out about the Roman Catholics, put every continent and every country up and say how many Roman Catholics organizations is in this country here. In this country here. Change it and you'll see. Then you'll understand who rules the world. With Satan. See, Satan, we blame Satan for a lot of things, y'all. We really do. But what we don't understand is Satan got a right hand, like the Father got a right hand. But the way Satan's right hand is that he can use whom he please to do his wicked work. And he chose the Roman Catholics long time ago. That's why they've been messing around. And how many times did I tell y'all I do not mess with Christians and people in their churches? Why? You don't know who Yah is using, you guys. You don't know. And to learn that the Roman Catholics, they weren't going after the Jews. They weren't going after the Hebrew Israelites. They went after those that Paul had given the gospel to. The Christians. That's who they went after. And I can't understand that. Why did they go after them? The one Paul had given the gospel to. and went to teach the gospel. That's what they did. That's what the Roman popes did. That's what they did. That's what the Roman Catholic did. They start killing them, beheading them. And you know, it used to be a time they used to say about, I don't know if you've probably seen many of movies where the Christians were prosecuted. They really were. They put them on fire, y'all, alive, children too, because they believed the gospel that Paul brought to them. So they say before they get out of hand, we're going to have to do something. And that's when the Pope came in. They ain't never had no, Roman Catholics didn't have no Pope at first. That's what they brought in to rule the whole mass, to get everybody under the Christians. That's why everybody fell under the Christian church. It's because the underdog, which is the Roman Catholic, was using the Christian to deceive the people, even to today. That's why they run around here getting that 501 whatever, and they all under the Christian. They don't want to let that go because they're getting that little check. And not that little check. They're getting, they don't have to pay taxes, and they get other things too. That's why all the churches fall under this here. It's because the Roman Catholic has always been under them since the biblical times. When Paul went to minister to the Christians, to the Gentiles, and they decided to call themselves Christians. That's how Christians got in. It wasn't us. We was the children of the Most High Yah. It was the Christians. So what the Roman Catholic did not like is that the Christians was really catching on and believing in the Most High. So what did they do? They decided to start pulling up and starting their army and their way, their power. And then it got to all the other Christians that from now on, you're going to have to abide by the Roman Catholic Pope. That's how it got in there thousands of years ago. So there were Christians back then, and they were prosecuted just as Paul and Peter, you know, when they were burning and beheaded, and they were doing that to the Christians back then. What were the Hebrew Israelites? They was up there hollering, crucify him. They always got an ugly mouth. They didn't start having an ugly mouth today. Y'all, they just lying to y'all. They always been ugly people. I had to tell my oldest son, today is his birthday, and I had to tell him that we have been an ugly people a long time ago. We had the promised land, and that means the wealthiest, the best land on the face of the earth. And we was over there cursing God then and killing one another. He said we were doing the same thing we doing now. We were doing it over in the promised land. So that's why we were we at, you guys, as well. See, y'all don't understand why you here. When you see how ugly your forefathers really were, and that's why I say it's sad how these women around here trying to defend these men. Shut your ugly mouth and let Yah place his judgment on them. Let the Most High bring his fire and his judgment on them, because that's exactly what he's doing. He gonna let them build their towers, build their farm, plant their ground. He gonna let them do everything, and he's gonna come in with a fire and brimstone. He's gonna come in as in a war and with the sword. See, they don't. I ain't gonna say they don't understand. I believe that they are the only people that understand the Most High more than any other nationality. It's just that they never had the respect for him, y'all. I hate to say it like that. The one Yah chose, they never had any respect for him. And they don't have any respect for him now. That's why the idol, he said one thing he hates is how they have their idol God. Today, idling is those who on this YouTube and this Facebooks, this Patriot, this Rumble, this Twitter. Those who proclaim it to represent the Creator and not nowhere near his side in what he believes in. They chasing their flesh. They don't represent the Most High Yah. They could care less about the Most High Yah. And Yah is allowing it. And that's what I you know what? Even though the Father got humor, One thing I think that I've embraced more than anything that helps me, it almost like it's a part of the comforter. He's allowing it. He's allowing it. Because I know it was one time he said to me, and I think I told you all yesterday. One time he said to me, do you really think that I'm coming back to deliver those people? You really think that, Deborah? He said, do you know how many men hung from the tree with their private area cut out? We had women, talking about us, we had women and children hanging. Do you think I come to take them down? And then they'll set them on fire too. Did you see me come take them down? Where in the history book I come to deliver them? See, what we don't understand, the ugliness of us as a people toward the Creator. See, these other nations ain't been ugly toward him. We have, and we still don't get that. So in Deuteronomy 28, he put an end game. He said, until they are destroyed, I'm not coming to get them. Until they are destroyed, then I will come and deliver them. He ain't coming to get you till you destroy. See, a lot of them, they don't get it. They don't get it. He's coming. That's why I feel that even my hurt today was, how hard is it going to be? If it get any worse than that, how? He said, you ain't got nothing to say. You ain't got nothing to worry about. Didn't I give you the endurance spirit? And don't you have long suffering with you? So you just hold on. Stay in your lane. See, he's constantly having to say these things to me from the inner man to keep me reminding he rules. He run this thing. And it ain't going to be the way Deborah says. It's going to be like I said. I am about what I say, and I say what I am about. I don't do what flesh and blood say. You're hurting, you're going to hurt. That's a part of endurance. Long suffering. What is it you don't get? You see what I'm saying? So when he's dealing with me like that, that's a good way for me to see the part of him that's a comforter, because he ain't coming lying to you. He coming straight forward. You know, he ain't coming through no other door but the front door on your butt. And that's how he has always been. He's coming straight head on. He gonna let you know only because the way he feel about you. See, he ain't gonna he don't care what you say and what you do and how you feel if you're not his. But when he know that he have invested himself in you and you belong to him, he will deal with you like that. Like I tell y'all, he'll come to me through water. He'll come to me in the midnight hour. When I said the midnight hour, he might wake me up at 4 a.m. I toss and I turn, and once he wake me up, I go into a prayer. Next thing I know, I'm back out like a baby. Might say, okay, another 2 hours passed. Come on, get on up. Let's go into this again. But when I wake up, it's things he said to me, and then I be going into praying to him, glorifying him. It always seemed like I'm always uplifting and praising him and glorifying him for being so excellent, for being so wonderful, for being so great, so being so awesome. I mean, just everything that he is, and I know. I just thank you for that power. Let me tell you, when you know him like that, he will visit you that same way. Let's see what we got here. Yep, they building like they setting up for the kingdom, and they ain't got a care in the world, and the people that's following them. Yep. Only one thing you need to know is about him. You say you never heard of this Dow character. He hate women, so I'm gonna let you know up front. And I know where it started, and he know I know where it started. It started with his mama and a couple of women that turned him down when he was a young boy. That's his issue. Okay. Yep, that's the only thing they think of. They think with that. They feel with that. They orchestrate life with that. Yep, that's true. Yes. But yeah. Yep. What is a soul? Since it's something that the word soul begin in the Bible, what is a soul? God had the word soul written in his Bible 100 times for his reason. What is a soul and what is Yah's reason for a soul? And did Yeshua have a soul? Did anyone else in the Bible that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, did it speak of any one of them having a soul? Did Yeshua have a soul? Study that tonight. The individual who knows a lot about the soul. From all I heard about. Yes, he's a character too. If anyone, if you want to take that, do that study, look in the Bible and pull up the word soul and see if you can find anywhere where Yeshua, the Son of Man, soul, or Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, soul. The Roman Catholics has the power to rule this world today, and that's what they're doing. Satan has given them his right hand. And this is where people mindset is at. They're not going to see spirit and truth if they see and believe and embrace the Roman Catholic ways of smearing. And even those that I was telling you all that practice the science, they start off by saying that the Roman Catholics, oh, they went way up. Baby, let me tell you something. They went so far back. They went so far back as far as the Roman Catholics changing the biblical book. But see, I knew it because the Spirit of the Most High shared it with me in the wilderness. And then that's who told me is ruling the power that bees on the earth. That's on the earth. That means Satan has given them the power to rule the Catholic, not the Catholic, the Christians, okay? And they use a shield. They're hiding behind the Christians. That's why you hear people saying Christians are being prosecuted. Those are the true ones being prosecuted, who was like back in Paul time, those that believed the gospel and they received. You see, they were prosecuted, but they was put on fire, head beheaded, hands cut off. I mean, so many things done to them, and they were called Christians. When today, those that are being prosecuted are those who truly believe in the truth as the Father has given it unto them. You see another thing, you all, the Most High has never made this thing hard. Nobody knows it all. Even when they think they do, they don't know nothing. Sister Deborah will tell you any time of the day how many times I've been saying it, how many years, give or take. I think I got a good 20 in there. I know at least 20%. But the 20% that I know, the Most High has measured it at that 20. But guess what? In spirit and truth, I'm going to have to up a little, y'all. Because when they run into spirit and truth, that's a different story. because it's the truth of the matter. But nobody knows it all. No one has it all. Because even me, I can step into something. He can reveal something to me, and I step in it, and it'd be so good, and I'm just reading it, just eating it up. The next minute, he step into something. I said, wait a minute, what's about over here? He said, okay, I want you to step over here, and I want you to read that. We're like, wait a minute. It's here. Okay, so I go over here. You see? And the Father does not make this book life. This is not life, y'all. Life is the breath that has been blown in you of the Most High Yah. That breath gave you a living, not a living, a spirit, which Yah is a spirit. He gave you his image is a spirit. Do y'all know most people in the church and on this devil platform do not understand that when he breathed the breath of life, when he breathed into you, he gave you his image, which is a spirit. Now you have a spirit where he comes to abide in you. That's why he called you the temple. Your spirit is a temple where he dwells, not your flesh. So if he said you can't worship him in your flesh, you have to have something in you where he can dwell. So it's got to be a spirit. His own image he gave you, a spirit like unto him. He can come and abide in your spirit, and y'all become what? One. You see? He said, you abide in me and I abide in you. Is he talking about flesh or spirit? He's telling you your spirit abide in him and his spirit abide in you. And he will teach you from that level. He ain't talking about no flesh. He ain't talking about no flesh. Not none. You have a spirit. What is the image of Yah? It is a spirit. Yah is a spirit. And what? Genesis chapter 1. There's no such thing as a soul. But if you want to have a soul, have your soul. That's why people cannot break through and be able to understand Yah in the spirit realm. It's because the middle barrier is soul. Shouldn't have been there. Now listen to this. In Genesis, but if you want a soul, you can have a soul. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. And Yah said, let us make man in our image. Image. Not the image of a flesh, because Yah is not a flesh. So what image is Yah saying? He is a spirit. He's going to give you a spirit. Like unto who? His spirit. Watch this here. After our likeness. And let them have, that's Genesis chapter 1 and verse 26. Here he's telling you, let us make man. We're going to make man. And he's in our image, an image of a spirit. He is a spirit and he wants to give you a spirit. And the way in our likeness. Okay. Then you go to verse 27. So God created man in his own image. He wasn't talking about the flesh. Everybody's flesh image is different. That's dirt. The image is a spirit. He created you in a spirit. Like unto his spirit was an image he gave you so you can have a spirit. You go here in Genesis chapter 2 and you go to, let me see where it's at. Verse 7. And Yah formed man of the dust of the ground. That's not the image. That's dirt. So we know that that's not the image. So what is Yah's image? A spirit. Not a soul. Okay, watch this here. This is where you have to be careful. Where I said the Roman Catholic, you can know only when you're led by the Holy Spirit. You don't know these things if you're not a student of the Most High Yah. Okay? Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7. And Yah formed man of the dust of the ground. Bam, that's it. Bam, that's it. Now he's laying there. Is he moving? No, he isn't. Why? Because he ain't done. He got to get what he needs. What do he need? Let's see. And Yah breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And what came with life? The image came when Yah breathed in him life. The breath of life were blown into him, a spirit, just as Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and verse 27. Yah's breath of life is a spirit. Okay? Here in 7, this is where I was explaining to you the Roman Catholic smear. Genesis chapter 2 and verse 7. And Yah formed man of the dust of the ground. So we know he's the dust of the ground. And watch this here. And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. Right here should never been added. And man became a living soul. What happened to the image of Yah? Yah's likeness that he created man. He sat here and said it. Yah made man in his image and in his likeness. He created them. You drop down to 27. So Yah created man in his own image. In the image of Yah created him, male and female. What is the image of Yah? A spirit. Yah is a spirit, and he gave you a spirit like the image of his spirit. Then you go to John, the Gospel of John. It's not a soul. You go to the Gospel of John. In the Gospel of John, and this is where most men, you'll never see them pick up the book and read, teach this thing right here. They won't teach this. Watch this here. In the Gospel of John, chapter 1 and verse 4. Let's go there. And 5. Watch this here. In the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 4. In him was life. In Yah was life. That was the breath. Was in Yah. And life was the light of men, males. You see that? Go back now. The individual who talks about souls, I want you to understand this. In the Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 4 and 5. They talking about Yah. In him was life. Remember, Yah was life. He's got the breath of life. And what did he do? He breathed the breath of life into man. And what? Man now has a spirit like the image of Yah. Now listen to here. In the Gospel of John, chapter 1, in him was life. That was the breath. And life, the breath, was the light. L-I-G-H-T of man. That light is a spirit. You see? To light man, the spirit. The image of Yah is a spirit. A spirit is likened to a light. And here he's telling you life, and life was the light of man, meaning the spirit that he gave man. He gave him through the breath. He blew it into his nostrils, and man received the breath of life, and the breath of life gave him the light, which was the spirit of Yah. And verse 5 says, and the light shining. He letting you know. I did an excellent job, didn't I, Deborah? Here we go. John, the Gospel of John, chapter 1 and verse 5. He says, and the light shined, but that nasty flesh comprehend it not. Listen to what it says in verse 5. The Gospel of John, chapter 1 and verse 5. And the light shined in darkness, which the darkness represents the flesh. And the darkness wouldn't even comprehend it not. That's where the people are today, y'all. So if you all ever want to witness to someone, you can witness to them from that, and you go back to Genesis. Here is showing you that the Father is saying, Deborah, they reject the light, even though it was working, because it was me. I gave them my image, and it shined in their dark flesh, and they flesh, what it says, comprehended not. Do you all get that? The flesh did not comprehend the spirit that Yah had brewed into the flesh of man. Today is 2023. This is what your men don't know about. They don't know nothing about this. They don't know nothing about this. They so hung up on the middleman that the Roman Catholic put in there, which is soul. So they just confound, they just confuse. If people would know, if the Father, now I ain't gonna say if they would know, because they couldn't know. If the Father was able, I ain't gonna say if he was able. If there was a way that the Father would allow everybody to see where the Roman Catholics had some tamper with this, it'll blow their mind. And all the men be saying, what? You mean all this time we've been teaching this like this, saying this, and you mean to tell me? No, you're right. Because you forgot something. And that's the Gospel of John, chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word. That means the Word exists before this book was. And the Word was with Yah. And the Word was Yah. The same was in the beginning. Let you know the Word is Yah. So it can't be a paperback book. And that's what people keep thinking that they can. Why do you think they debate this book? Why do you think they challenge this book? Why do they say when they took this out, they took that out, or they said this and they said that? This is our book. This is for us. And this, you know what? The only things for you is the Holy Spirit. That's the only thing gonna correct you. And if you ain't got that, no book in this world is gonna change who you are. The only one gonna change you is that Holy Spirit. And he ain't gonna change you because you want to be changed. He got to reside in you. He have to know in the beginning he is the Word, and the Word was him, and the Word is him, and he knows this is what he put in you if you are of who he is. And if you're not branded with this, you just out there role playing with a strong delusion that you somebody that you ain't. That's how sad it is today. In the presence of others, I can't even explain it. You can't even explain it, huh? Nope, you're right. There's no colors like it is here on the earth. And I heard the colors that is in heaven. Let me tell y'all, I heard it is colors you ain't never seen before. That has not even been seen. So the breath of life is the image of Yah. When he blew into the nostrils, he gave that flesh as spirit, and the flesh became a living being, not a living soul. Because the flesh was down there by itself. It wasn't going anywhere until two things entered. First entered was the breath that blew in the spirit, which was a spirit, which was an image of Yah, into Adam. And we all, let me tell you something. Let me show you something. I forgot to show you that. Let me make sure in the Gospel of John, chapter 1, listen to that. All of us have that. Watch this here. Verse 9. The Gospel of John in verse 9. That was the true light, which Yah is the capital light, which lit every man that come into the world. Every man has a spirit, y'all. The Gospel of John, chapter 1, verse 9. That was the true light, which lit every man that come into the world. See, we all got his spirit, his image. One thing people that are cloned don't have is his image, is his spirit. You see, that's what they're going to be missing. I ain't gonna say they're going to be missing. They are missing. So that's kind of scary, ain't it? That's pretty scary. What's that? Someone has Isaiah 11:2. Let me see here. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 2. And the spirit of Yah shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of fear of Yah. What did I tell y'all? Didn't I tell y'all? What did I tell you? Where is it at? You see where he's saying it's going to rest? Shall rest upon him. Look at here. Fear. And what did I tell you? Flesh has knowledge. Flesh has wisdom. Right there. And thank you for that verse, babe. That fit right into our conversation. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 2 fits right in. And it tells you about flesh has wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. But spirit has it too. There's a big difference, you guys. So when people start coming to you, listening to you, or you witness to somebody, let them know that there's two big difference in the both. A big difference. One is for the spirit and one is for the flesh. One shall never die. This one here will. You see, and the things that we have in the spirit is of Yah. When I be telling y'all, spirit and truth. Spirit and truth going to let you know right what this is saying. It said in Isaiah chapter 11, verse 2, and the spirit of Yah shall rest upon the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might. Might is power. Okay. And the spirit of knowledge and of fear of Yah. These are spirits, you guys. These are spirits. They're in the spiritual realm. These are areas, I don't know, y'all might not understand this, but these are areas millions don't know nothing about because they went too far in the deep. They didn't wait for the Ruach HaKodesh, y'all. We need to wait. If you don't have the Holy Spirit, it is something to wait on. And when it comes, when it comes, you're going to know it. And it's not going to come to leave you. It's going to come to remain with you. You tell me that ain't beautiful. It don't come to leave you. It come to remain with you. It knows it ain't coming up in somebody who ain't in him. He knows that. We need to stop thinking he's like to a man. He don't know nothing and he's dumb and we so smart. We got to make sure we remember we the dumb ones. He the know-it-all at all times, 24/24. But yes, thank you for that verse, because I like that. And you know, I should always keep that, because I always said, thank you for that, because I always said that there's two: in the natural, in this flesh, and in the spirit. There go to one of the example. It's right there. And do you know they don't know, 99.9 don't know nothing about that, because they so busy dealing with the flesh and the soul. Today they have no idea that, wait a minute, baby, how wait a minute, he gonna help me? Why he ain't helping you with drugs? Because you want him to come in your body and change something. He ain't coming that way. You want him to answer to your needs in your flesh. He ain't coming. You didn't let him in your spirit. You gonna just be out there thinking he's in you, and he ain't even indulged himself in you, and you want him to deliver you. But Yah is such a righteous, if that's what he chooses, he will do. But I'm just letting you know who he is and why he's entitled to glory and praise and honor. Why he should be the one you fear, the one you recognize his power, not the power of these loudmouth men and women out here. They ain't got no power. They ain't showed you no power. So why are you falling behind them? They all sitting in sanctuaries and ain't got no power and ain't showed you none. You got your stupid tail sitting up among them, thinking they representing the Most High Yah with no power. Boy, I tell the Father all the time, I am so thankful, so thankful that I am not in the midst of all that chaos. I am so thankful. And even when it get to the thing, I've learned a lot of things in the last month about my family. I sit back and I think, oh, I'm so glad I wasn't in the midst of all that. Oh, I am so glad I never knew some of the things they be telling me. Oh, I'm so glad I didn't get in the midst of none of that. I'm so glad. I am, y'all. Because guess what? This sister girl told it when she was a teenager. The outcome. I sure did. I told them what was what, who's who, and what was what. And now they want to tell you was right. I don't need nobody to tell me I was right. I was speaking righteous. Righteous stands alone. It don't need nobody to stand with it. And that's what I was telling y'all about these men out here debating. You don't need to, righteous don't need you to debate it. You only debate an unrighteous stupidity, and that's what you're debating. Yeah, it really is. And there's no need to debate nonsense. Yeah, we don't need to debate nonsense. Nonsense it don't have no righteous in it. It don't have no just. It's not even upright. It's not even in the light. So why we gonna do this? But see, that their mindset is based on that, y'all. That's how they get their ego. They get they thing on. They pride. Oh, we have to debate this and debate that. That's right. No needing to debate in spirit and truth either, because that's in the spirit realm. That's the truth of the matter. They ain't gonna debate that. They want to debate things that gives pleasure to the flesh. Should the women wear their head wrap? Should the women submit to the men? Should the women should they have polygamy, or should they do what they want to do? Should the women be submissive under their feet? Should the women dress the way they tell them to dress? And another thing I was explaining to you all about the travail. You know what else they got me? In Isaiah chapter 3, I noticed the father was purging the daughters of Zion. And he was talking about the scab in their head and revealing their secret parts. But you know what got me? the clothing in which he's going to do away with on them, I mean, strip from them, are the same clothes style that you see the Hebrew Israelite women dressing like. Like I told y'all, Hebrew slaves. That's what they dress like. And they look like a mop walking, dead. Because you know the truth of the matter. Then you look at the men, they dressed tennis shoes, name brand this, name brand that. But the women walking around here looking like they did when they was in slavery way back out. That's exactly how they look to me. From the standpoint of what I'm looking at, that's what they look like to me. And this one lady was talking about a lot of people are getting rid of their dreads. They're cutting, a lot of the men are cutting their dreads off, saying that they feel the need. They don't have the energy from the dreads anymore. It's just a trend. People just run and do whatever these heathens put out for them to do. They do it. They connected those dreads to their nature, they tribe. Baby, please. That's what I'm saying. These people don't do their study. If we were in a land that was the richest land, you think we was looking like y'all looking now? Use a fool, and use a fool. He put us on a land floating with milk and honey, and we walking around here look like a mop on a stick. Dresses hitting the ground like we've been in slavery all our lives, and we've been there since the world began. That's a lie from the pit of hell. How is it we was on a land floating with milk and honey? That means the richest land. We had it all, but yet we're gonna walk around looking like you think you're supposed to look. That's how the power that bees, especially the Roman Catholic, is easy to manipulate us. How we dress, how we eat, how we walk, how we talk. They've been doing it since the beginning of time. Not the beginning of time, but since we've been over here. They've been telling us what we fall right in line. Dress the way they say, look the way they say, and then they want to pull up in a newfound religion called the Hebrew Israelite movement. And then you're going to tell, you know what? You're worried about people on the outer side. What about who they are on the inner? So if Sister Deborah go and wrap her head and wear her long dress, I can be a devil in disguise. So what about my inner being and who I am? That don't matter. As long as I look a certain way to where you want to say I need to look, so the other men don't look at them. That's what the women don't understand. They're telling you, and I'm gonna tell you something. By nature, me being a woman, I don't dress for someone else to look at me. But you crazy as I don't know what if you don't think I'm gonna dress to make myself, husband or no husband, I'm gonna look the way I feel. I'm not gonna step out and look the way somebody want me to cover up. Because the truth be told, sin is not a woman dressing in a way. Now, is she dressing in a way that you know that is inappropriate? And anybody that has the Holy Spirit knows what that's like, because the Holy Spirit will check you. He'll check you in and check you out. But to dress like the flesh of the man say to dress, no. Go back to Isaiah chapter 3 and see. Call those names out. Down there, those names, Bunny is one. Manton is another one. It's several of them. And they talking about us rap. If the wraps go around our head and those long dresses we be wearing and them things we put over, he's going to strip all that away. Why? Why is that a part of our purging? That's what man put on you. That's why. That's what man put on you. See, they had their ideal of why they want to put that on you. They sick idea. Why they over here telling you to dress to hide yourself so they eyes can keep wandering, lusting from the eyes and lusting after flesh. But you got to be covered up to the point where you looking like a mop on the stick. And I say that because they give up on everything about themselves when they have call themselves being so in order and in tune with being in captivity to a man, to where they don't even care about themselves. Don't you know you have to feel good from the inside too? You can't possibly be feeling good because a man telling you can't look up. Here they go. Why are you teaching these women they're not supposed to look up when a man is speaking? Use a fool, and you're going to stay a fool. If that is not a cult leader, I don't know. This man labeled what they are. And I mean, he nailed it. And I was like, how do you know all of that? Because that's exactly how they are. He knew it. White man. Let me show y'all something else. I'm going to show y'all this here video that I kept just to show you all. And I'm going to show you how I was telling you it's a sad thing. Sister Deborah be running her mouth. I cannot explain it. Why do these heathens know more than these Negroes regarding the Most High Yah? I just can't explain it. Now, this here man is talking about something I was saying, and I just want y'all to listen to this. All right, it's not turned up.
It can be done, but it cannot be done in the power of a man. It can be done in the power of God.
Now listen to this. Let me see if y'all can. Hope y'all can see it. Come on.
We have a world to win. We have nations to save. We have dragons to fight. And it can be done, but it cannot be done in the power of a man. But it can be done in the power of God.
I'm going to play it again. I'm going to see if you all got it in the live chat. And I'm going to see if you're going to say what he said. See if y'all can hear it. Listen to what he said. Just the end part.
We have a world to win. We have nations to save. We have dragons to fight. And it can be done, but it cannot be done in the power of a man. But it can be done in the power of God.
Did y'all hear what he said? Anybody in the live chat, put up a thumb. Let me know. You're right. Not all men are alike. You are so right. I agree with you 100%. And guess what? I know that to be true because he says those men that he gonna have, they gonna be called holy. Woo! So I know all of them ain't the same. Oh, that's good. You got it. That's the first part. But what did it say at the end? After that part, he said, "What? We got dragons to fight." He just don't know. He's telling the truth now. He's telling the truth. He's telling the truth. But the power of God. There you go. You got it. You got it. It can't be done by the power of man, but the power of God. Now, you know what else he said? We got dragons to fight. What did this man know about dragon? He talking about Satan. He know what's going on. You see what I'm saying? Now, why is this Gentile explaining to you all? And he's with that, he's saying the same thing that, what's his name? Y'all know this guy. Wait a minute, let me see if I can pull it up. The actor. I didn't even know he was into it like that. What's his name? No, let me see if I can. No, I don't have that on here. The other guy, but you nailed it. That's exactly what he said. It cannot be done by the power of man, but by the power of Yah. Why is this Gentile saying this, y'all? Somebody, how is it that this Gentile can come in the midnight hour and talk like that? This is the sort of things that I'm coming up on. Even when they speak to me in the store, this is how they come to me. Just like this here. And I be trying to, you know how a person would scratch their head like, hey, wait a minute now. Because in my little mind, I'm more so wanting those people who was chosen to be the one that, not the chosen, but the ones that said they awakened. You want them to be able to be speaking like this. They ain't coming nowhere near that, baby. They out here killing one another, talking about hating on women. A lot of these men, the father told me, this is what he said to me. A lot of this killing, these men are doing a lot of this killing because a lot of it being taught on these platforms that the men should hate the women and to do away with them. And if they don't get them in control, if they don't do what they tell them to do, she belongs to you. She is your property. And this is one thing that's also Satan said, oh, that's what they fear. Let's go out here and do this. That is not just, you see. So, and someone said, not all men are like that. You are 100% correct. Because from what I understand, the Most High called the men that's going to be left, my Most High called them holy. Do you know what that means? Do you know what holy means? Coming from the Most High's mouth, holy. People better stand down, because that there leads Sister Deborah and anybody else to understand that he got men that he already got prepared to label as holy. That's beautiful. Okay, well, this is what you're gonna allow them, okay? Since you wants to run it, let's see if you're gonna run this. How about this? See if you can run that. How about that? How about that? Go to your own channel. You can't get there, can you? Because you ain't got nothing to talk about. You ain't got nothing to talk about. So you think this is the place to come. How about that? How you like that? I hope you like that. I hope that'll help you out a little bit tonight. At least you will be able to sleep a little bit better. But what was I saying? Yes, that is true about all men. It's not, because another thing, this is who I think I've told y'all several times. I'm the type of person that's like this here. All my life, y'all, I never believed in women preachers. Never did. Even as a young girl, never believed that women should be preaching and leading the flock. I never believed that. I really never believed her even being an assistant. Now, there should be a pastor, and then he should have a male assistant, and the wife should be the first lady. And being the first lady don't mean you have to sit up front. You see, being the first lady is recognizing the pastor's wife. Okay, so all my life, I never believed in women being over the people in no shape, form, or fashion. There is too much to be done in the house of the Most High Yah. She don't have to be up on a pulpit. She don't have to be on the first bench. And I always, and I don't know where I got it from. What I always believed. I never believed in women pastoring a church. Never did. Okay. Because another thing, it was so many things in the church, okay, in which women can be doing. So many things. And one is prayer warrior. They can be a prayer warrior team. That there is so spiritual, because it'll teach you how to pray for others, and to get down there and you pray and you seek the face of Yah to deliver, or you lay hands on the sick, you go visit. I mean, it's just so the women can be the one that set up the banquets, the travel, and even travel to make sure that they are getting what the pastor and the deacons are getting what they need during the travel time. Make it easy for. It's just so many things that a woman can be a helpmeet to a man in a place of worship. It just, I have always believed that, and I still believe that to today. Now, this is something else I believe. I believe that those men that's going to come up out of these four corners in captivities, these are going to be some of the holy, and not what I mean, how, ooh, Father, how can I say it? Chosen men of the Most High Yah. You know why? Because a lot of them are going to lose their lives and they're going to remain right here. They're going to remain right in the land of their captive. But those that's going to come out, let me tell you something. They are going to represent the Most High Yah. I can tell you that right now. We might not can see them because there's so much chaos in the land. We might not know who they are because these loudmouth men that's talking this fleshly stuff, that's not giving Yah no praise, no glory, no honor, not representing my Most High or higher as all that and some, but out here trying to make everything about them and what they got, and they also are trying to build their heavens here on earth and think y'all don't know what they doing. He got your number. He gonna let you remain right here in this land, because I believe that the next mighty power from the right hand of the Father, because the judgment is already hit, will be getting hands up out of here. I really believe that, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. And another thing, I always believe that we all, as male and female, we all have a place, even in the house, in the household. We all have a place. And let me explain something to you about that. I believe that when I was a little girl, and I think I was like 13, 12 and 13, somewhere probably 11, 12 and 13, I used to think about God is going to give me a husband and I'm going to have 3 children. And all my mind was set on was raising my children and making sure my husband had everything and wouldn't be in want for nothing as a young girl. And during that time, I used to think about how, I know y'all gonna say this is crazy, how he would open the door for me, and how he treated me like a cotton ball. It was something about a cotton ball. And I mean, I think that was tender and delicate. He wasn't one that curses me out and holler at me and all of those things. You see what I'm saying? So I always pictured that to be what I wanted. But what I did end up with one that treated me like a cotton ball, opened the door. Say, for instance, I went, if it was 7:00 in the evening and I went grocery shopping, or I went to the store or anywhere, he would always be there waiting and run outside and open the door for me and get the bags or whatever. All the years I've known him, always did. Always did. You see? So only thing that I think that kind of made me realize that something was, the picture wasn't as what it should have been, is when I realized I was doing everything. Everything. I mean, everything. I mean, like everything. Because this individual did not have. And what he had was all that he had. That's the good thing about it. That was all that he had. And that's what the Father was saying to me. He only gave you what he had. You see what I'm saying? He couldn't give you any more. You see, even though I felt okay, I had all his children, I raised all his children, I made sure all of them was in sports and they were in church and they were well-mannered, they respect him highly, all of this good stuff. But when I look back over my life, I know that I know I'm a woman of the Most High Yah, because I think back and I say, oh, Father, you mean this is all I deserve? Nothing. I mean, you guys, let me tell you, every School meetings, school activities, I was there. Track meet, baseball, soccer, swimming classes. Sister Deborah was all in their lives like that. I have always been, and I made sure if he had a toothache, guess what? If my husband had a toothache, that means I got a toothache. If he needed glasses, Deborah needed glasses. If he had a headache, whoops, I got a headadeche. Why? Because I made sure if you had a toothache, I call that dentist. I make that quick appointment, and I'm right there side by side with you until it's through. Get you home, make sure you have everything that comforts you during that time of you have to have a tooth pulled. Glasses, okay. Oh, dentist, eye doctor. Get him an eye exam, okay. Appointment, get him appointment in. What day? We got this day. Come on, let's go. You see, any illness, any sickness, anything. Sister Deborah was always on top of everything, making sure that he had. When we moved, it was always setting him up for his man cage, so that he can have his own space to himself. You see? Always. Everything I did. And then this one, we was married 7 years, and I never forget. I went before the Most High Yah, and I said, Father, what is this I have? What is this? He said, Deborah, this man came to you like this. This has nothing to do with you. And it was like something just lifted off of me, because it lets me, I thought I was doing something wrong, even though I was crossing every T's and dotting every I. I was just making sure this man had food to eat. You hear me? I mean, clothes washed, I mean, the whole works, everything. I got nothing in return. Nothing. I mean, nothing. You see? And today, we still best friends. Still best friends. And we vow, even though he went his way, I went my way, that we will always be there to take care of each other if we get sick or ill. And even to today, if he need glasses, let me go make an appointment. But that's just who Sister Deborah is. Sister Deborah life ain't never been about her. Sister Deborah been raising children, going to all type of activity for the children. These kids went to school. Mother gave them breakfast in the morning. No, you don't eat at no school. You eat at home. You see? At our dinner table, it wasn't a time that I can remember where everybody ate in their rooms and everybody ate at the table together. That was the best time, because you would hear the kids talking about stuff that they normally wouldn't talk about. And so happened, they sit at the table. You can't say nothing because you want them to be open to be able to just say what they need to say or they want to say. So that the reason what I'm trying to get you all to understand, it's no perfect woman and there's no perfect man. Okay. We can hang that up. Okay. But just to be the best that you know how to be as a wife, that is required. And him likewise to be the best that he could be, it is required. But what we don't understand, everybody best is not the same. You see what I'm saying? Everybody best is not the same. I seen my mother do this to my father. His mother and father never stayed together, and they raised the same amount of children I raised. And their father never lived with them, even though his mother and father was married. He didn't come up with his father in the household. And his mother, she was on some substance her whole life. So what I'm saying is my upbringing was different, you see. And this is added into a marriage. And a lot of people don't understand that a marriage is what Yah has joined together. And a lot of people don't understand that. He said what Yah has joined together, not what you join yourself together in. You have to understand what Yah has joined together, let no man put there under. Meaning you can't get no man to separate what Yah has joined. You see people in here battling like Geno Jennings telling people that you married a man. If your wife's still living, you have to go back to your wife. You can't remarry. What Jenny Jennings don't understand, and he's talking, and he talks so much, and he's so loud-mouthed. He one of them loud-mouthed man. And when you get somebody like that, those are the type of people, they're not under the Ruach HaKodesh teaching, meaning the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit will bust anything out of its fleshly ways, anything. And what he mean, a lot of people don't know when it says what man has joined together. When you say in your vows, what God has joined together, God is not going to put light with darkness and darkness with light. Yah is not going to put unequally yoked together. And a lot of marriages was really built on unequally yoked. You see what I'm saying? And where do the unequally yoke mean? It means when Yah has not joined you together. See, a lot of people don't know the man has to always have Yah in his life first. He should be the first in his life. And the woman, when he comes and he cleaves to his wife, he already have Yah in his life. You see? She could also have Yah in her life. That is equally yoked. They both have Yah in their lives. Unequally yoked, meaning which 99.9 of people got married under an unequally yoked marriage. He said, what Yah has joined together, let no other man put you under. And what he mean is, only one can divide a marriage is Yah himself. Yah himself. So if you got a man and a woman that's equally yoked and Yah has joined them together because they equally yoked and have joined them together, he did not say he would not divide. He said, let no man divide you under. Meaning he can divide it, but no man, because you can be equally yoked and married together. Okay. And this is where Geno Jennings, his mouth override his butt override his mouth. He don't think when he's talking. And the people that's sitting in his pew don't listen. Because if they listen, they can see it's off balance. Now watch this here. He's not saying that marriage cannot be separated. He just saying let him separate it. Why? Because if you got a wife here and a husband here, and they equally yoked, both of them have accepted Yah and been living serving Yah, and they come together. Yah have joined them together. Why would Yah join dark with light? Why would he do that? Why would Yah join unequal with equally? I mean, yoke. Unequally yoked with yoke. Why would he do that? So all of the marriages, most marriages was really founded under unequally yoke. Okay. So that's where Geno Jennings is a lie, and the truth is ain't gonna be found in him. Is when it tells you that he said, what Yah has joined together, let no man put you under. And he said, no man. He's not saying that even if I have joined you together, I'm the only one can separate you. Because the first thing about the separation, if you get a woman that decided she's going to start drinking and drugging and hanging out all night, and then it becomes a habit, this man can still pray and keep praying, and this woman is still in this here same way. Yah is not saying put up with it. She's yours. Do this and do that. Now she's out having sex with different men. So what? That's your wife. You married her. Y'all together. Y'all will intervene one way or another. I know him like that. He would intervene and divide that equally yoke. He would divide it because now it is not equal. See, now one has stepped into a life of darkness. Ha! And now that one that has stepped into that life of darkness way out there, it's not equal anymore. So he said, let no man divide you. Let no court, let nobody. He said he will. If I joined you together, I will be the one that divides you, not man. That's what he meant. That's what he means when he says that. Because say for instance, if you got a husband and the wife is going and faithful in service, and the husband is just wants to go out with the fellas and hang out, and here it is 6 months in a year, and he had an extra marriage affair. Gino Jennings said no matter what he do, you still got to be married to him. But that's where he bent up and bent down, because they're not listening. Why? Because they never shut their darn mouth long enough to hear what the Most High is saying. How do you know that, Deborah? Because you have to get up under the Ruach HaKodesh teaching to teach you what he's saying. And a lot of people don't get it. It's too many people I had to counsel, marriage counsel, men and women. I know what he's talking about. And I'm not talking about if a woman is out there 30 days and she drinking and smoking and hanging out. No, that's not enough time to just to separate from a marriage. But after a while, Yah himself would intervene. He said, just don't let no man put you up under. Meaning he's what the Father said, I'm not giving this right to a man to divide you. I said, he that Yah has joined together, a man and a woman, let no man put you under. I didn't say I could divide this thing. So a lot of people don't understand Yah can separate a marriage, because when they were together, before they came together, they were equally yoked. They was the same, and they came together. They were equally yoked, and Yah brought them together because they both were equally yoked, serving him. But see, that's what people don't understand. Y'all don't give a rest behind what your flesh do if it's not serving him. So he said, that's when you're in him. But if you're not in him, even if he joined you together and you're doing something the opposite and living the whole life opposite to what was once equal, then guess what? I can come in and I'll break that stuff up. And you will be broken up. But he said, don't let no man, don't let no court, don't let the court, the divorce court, your friend, your husband, your wife, your uncle, don't let nobody tell you to split up your marriage. Only one can come in between it and divide that thing up and let you split is Yah himself. Is Yah himself. Because he's not telling you to stay in darkness. Stay in this darkness. Y'all came in equally. You wait and see if he gonna get right or she gonna get right. You hang in there. If you think your marriage is worth it, hang in there. Even if you don't, hang in there. Y'all will give you the strength. After a while, y'all gonna come in. He gonna pull up. He gonna say, what's going on? What did he ask Adam? Adam, where are they? You knew where he was. What you asking him for? He gonna pull up. And he gonna divide that thing. Only thing about it, let him do what he does best and stand on it, because what happened? He can take one of you out. Y'all got a way of using his right hand power. He can divide that thing when it's out of order. You see? So the thing about it, he's saying, let no man, go back to the book. It tells you, let no man put you under. He's letting you know, let me call this shot. If y'all have an issue, come to me. And if one leave me and decided, hey, I don't want to come to you, Father, I don't want to have nothing to do with you. I'm in the world now. I'm doing it. I don't know. The Father said, I come in, I divide that mess. See, you can't sit there and make God make a marriage stay together when it's won't come in. Mine didn't come in equally yoked, but still in y'all, still in all, I still hung in there. He still hung in there 30 some years. But I'm telling you, the best peace of mind is when I say, that's it, no more. And I still haven't learned to be about me. It's sad, ain't it? I'm still about the kids and doing what's best for them and him. That shows you I ain't got no sense. I came here with no sense, and I don't care. I don't care if I don't have no sense. Catch me on the other side in spirit and truth. You gonna get messed up. So that's just where I'm at. So I believe that Yah is going to do some great things, and I think that great thing that he's about to do, and I think he really, and I'm gonna tell you how he's gonna do it. He's preparing it. I really believe to get heathens up out of here. I mean, it's time to go. I really believe that's where that right hand power is working in this day and time to take heathens up out of here, up out, not just in the United States, the four corners, those that he's going, that small remnant. Oh, it's that time, y'all. You know why I say that? Because see, we're looking at everything that it has said that in that day and in that time, but we got to understand there's got to be there's other, not time, but there's other things that's has been prophesied that's going to happen. You see? And that's when it's getting worse and worse and worse, and it's getting really dark. So therefore, we are already in that darkness. So these other things got to come. And then also, don't forget, we got to get over there to the promised land, and Babylon got to go down. You know, it's just so much stuff that got to happen, you guys. But I think the next stage before Babylon can go, we got to get out of here. And I think the reason why Babylon has not completed what they planning on doing is because he has to get us out and then allow their debris to fall. And it's going to be people fighting each other, and I think they're gonna be working from the inside, from the inside. And I think they got prepared other things that's gonna come in and fight on top of nation against nation, kingdom against kingdom. Then they're gonna usher in something else to fight. And I think from what I can see that they already been to the table, and when it get to the level of where they're expecting the war to be, then that's when they're gonna send something in to knock it out. Oh yes, they got a plan, baby. They're gonna bring this country down themselves. It's already in the plan, but they got to get the people. First eliminate the population, and they got to get the people fighting one another, and they're doing that already. It's already started. I would never have thought, you guys, I would never have thought that Negroes would be the one that's cutting up from the floor up and showing it to the whole world. And it's not that the Negro is showing it to the whole world. It's the system. Oh, I went all over my time. The system is showing it to the world. But like the Father said to me, Deborah, are they doing it? And that's powerful when he can say, when Deborah, okay, you saying they're showing it all over the world, but are they doing it? Why are you trying to get them off from all this wicked and evil? If they're doing it, whether they're showing it around the world or not. It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Now you're starting to get a lot of our black men hitting white people, pulling guns on white people, coming up to their houses. This is all the setup. And this is here what I was explaining to you, which I told y'all months ago. He woke me up and said lawlessness. And when he said that, I would never have thought it would be heavy amongst us. And it is. We have took on that mentality of lawlessness. That's why we're running into stores. And a lot of y'all are in full denial. And people who are in for denial, you're going to remain right into this chaos. See, those people are not coming out of here. People who are in for people who see the curse and can master the end game of the curse and salute it and say, Father, I see what you said. I see what you done. Salute him in that manner. Hey, I get you. I get you. Instead of turning around and letting these people think that they the goody two shoe, and y'all been the worst of the worst against the creator himself. And therefore, you're going to be left right here fighting a battle you will never win. Right here on this land. Only thing I don't like about what they got planned is they're going to let them kill each other, and they're going to put something else out there to kill you and be in control of you and do things to you. But I believe, without a doubt, they're going to be looking over. And the reason why they're going to be looking at the smoke and everything, because they know that they was partaker when they bombed this country. They knew that they was partakers. Yes, they already went to the table and planning it. They already planned it, baby. They already went to the table and got the okay. Because if you, and honestly, the way I see it, it's set up easy. It's easily seen. To me, I can see it. It's easily. They're going to get, why you think that you ain't heard from the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, the white supremacists, and now you see a lot of black people running into white people community, breaking into their house, pulling guns on them, hitting white people. I'm telling y'all, I'm seeing this with my own eyes. Like the father say, are they doing it? I don't have to answer to you. I answer to him. And I say, yes, they are. The reality is, when you're watching all these devil platforms, you seeing the truth of the whole matter. Except for you don't see them telling their truth, their lies. You don't see all that, but you're starting to see it come. You're starting to see it. But pretty soon, it ain't going to matter who it is. You're going to be all in one pot. Y'all going to be got his small remnant out, and you're going to be all in one pot. And when they see that the destruction is so at a high level, they're going to stand far off. Push that thing in it right here and now. That's how they're going to do it. And nobody can even see to think that this is how it's going. So a lot of people who thinking that they're going to get up out of here when the Father comes, then you got majority of Negroes could care less. They could care less about getting up out of here. And even those who faking it till they make it, they out here building and planning and doing everything and telling you on these platforms, you better be doing what we doing. But then, are you getting yourself ready for the Most High Yah? What are you doing in that area? Nothing. Oh, you all, I went 3 hours. Sister Deborah in trouble now. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm in so much trouble. So I, Sister Deborah, would say I appreciate each and every last one of you all in the live chat today. And I will be back. And I did. I ran up on 3 hours. Oh, now y'all know that went fast. Wait a minute, didn't I? Okay, I didn't start at 7, but still, it was so fast. But I appreciate each and every last one of you all tuning in. And I say unto you all, I will be back tomorrow. And I like to say shalom and shalom.